trigger, well, you're not just stopping a threat. You may be starting a chain of legal, financial, emotional consequences that can follow you for years. Now, that's why more responsible Americans are choosing to lead with a less lethal option that is effective. That's where Byrna, their less lethal launchers, it fires tear gas, kinetic rounds, pepper spray. It's designed to stop any attacker for up to 40 minutes. And it gives you time to escape. It gives you time to create distance and get help without using deadly force. Now, Byrna's best-selling compact launcher is sleek, it's slim, it's incredibly powerful. It's built for discreet, everyday carry. No background check. They can ship it directly to your door. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your future. Start with less lethal. Visit byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's byrna.com today.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
People around the world are attacking communist leaders, from the former European nations to Cuba. And in America, they elect communists, calling them Democrats. We'll discuss that. And how do NGOs have $14.2 trillion? U.S. NGOs have $14.2 trillion in assets. How the frack did that happen? We'll discuss that and so much more after News with Patrick.
Good afternoon. 62 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Patrick Johnson in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Upper 30s for lows tonight. Sun in the afternoon tomorrow with a high Saturday of 70 degrees. A 1 in 4 shot at rain on Sunday. Cloudy, highs in the middle 50s. Mayor Johnson firing his deputy mayor.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson firing Deputy Mayor Garion Gatewood, who says he was given no clear reason for his dismissal, also defending his record as the mayor's point person on public safety, noting declining homicide rates. Gatewood blaming his ouster on the mayor's chief of staff and a top political advisor.
I think there is a culture in this office where when you work to hold people accountable, you become a target.
Saying he's not surprised and at peace. The mayor's office saying it will appoint a deputy mayor replacement and share updates at an appropriate time. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Illinois will have a new chief fiscal officer as State Representative Margaret Croak narrowly won the Democrat primary for state comptroller. She defeated State Senator Karina Vila. The two had been separated by 2 percentage points. Croak will face Republican Brian Drew in the general election in November. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free at the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat. This hour is services of Access One Business IT Services and Support.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages fell for the day and for a fourth straight week as oil prices continue to tick higher and as the Middle East conflict is showing no signs of winding down. West Texas Intermediate crude, the U.S. benchmark, advanced and rose to over $98 a barrel, while Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose to around $112 a barrel. Most all of the 11 S&P 500 sectors were in the red except for energy and financials, while tech was the worst performer. Shares of all the magnificent 7 big cap tech stocks ending lower for a third straight session, and also for the week, gold slipping and falling to nearly $4,500 a troy ounce. The Dow winners, Chevron, Visa, and Verizon. The Dow decliners, Caterpillar, Boeing, and Honeywell. The Dow lower by 444 points. The Nasdaq lower by 443. S&P 500 down 100. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by Center Guard Plumbing. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, no troubles. Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, 45 minutes with an accident at Lawrence. Off to the side, slowing in the Express Kimball to the Edens. Eisenhower 1 hour to 390 from the post office. Stevenson outbound a 50-minite trip to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Dan Ryan, 30 minutes out, stop and go in the Express from the Stevenson to Marquette. A little tight inbound 4 to 111th into the Ryan. And heavy conditions along DuSable Lakeshore Drive southbound and northbound. You'll see delays either way on the Tri-State, eastbound Reagan heavy, southbound 355 also getting full as well. Traffic is a service of American Beam and Steel. Structural repair licensed contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark. American Beam and Steel. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with a low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
The goal of the short in the pants mafia is complete disarray, mayhem, failure, collapse. So you take your eye off the ball. We've been the victims of theft. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. One of these clips, they always stick out, right? All these clips, you listen to a lot of clips. This one's from a while ago, but it always sticks out. How do you blow $93 billion in a handful of days?
It's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful.
No, it's not. It's theft. It's unmitigated, absolute theft. And when you realize that some call president the election thief, the traitor and thief, Joe Biden, squandered what they want you to believe is $9 trillion in just debt during his tutelage, not to mention all of the money that goes out the door normally. And then you stumble on to where I believe the bulk of that money is. What the frack is an NGO, and how did they get $14.2 trillion?
The Federal Reserve has revealed that U.S. NGOs have more in assets than the combined 2025 GDP estimates for Japan, Germany, and India combined. India and Japan's GDP each just over $4 trillion, Germany $5 trillion, about $13.5 trillion together. Guess what? The combined assets held by U.S. NGOs equals $14.2 trillion of your tax money and that of your children and grandchildren and great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren.
And all this talk of American communism, tax the rich. Nobody is more rich than an NGO that produces nothing, that has zero cost except for the money that is stolen from we the people. And this all happens because of the Treasury? How the frack did that happen?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
Highest economic advisor to the dimwit in diapers. That's Jarrett Bernstein. That's not what they do, Jarrett. We could argue the principles and the fraud of monetized debt. But as I see what the Treasury does, they are unindicted co-conspirators in the theft of American tax dollars. Nobody at the Treasury could figure out that U.S. NGOs have $14.2 trillion.
Ever wonder why everything is so absolutely unaffordable today? It's not actually rocket science. Government has forgotten the fundamental reasons for which it was formed, to serve and protect our civil liberties. It has inverted the entire formula and decided that we are the ones here to serve.
Whoever keeps hitting that button, stop it. Now, when it comes to the Treasury and investigations into it, the mafia, known as the government, is protecting the way in which we can ascertain the information. Boasberg calling off the investigation into Jerome Powell. Does it seem political? Oh, it's just political. I mean, they both hate Trump and blah, 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 blah. He stole $1 billion. There is no construction worth $1 billion on the small building.
He is asking for an assurance that the investigation into Powell has ended it. Are you willing to concede?
Did you hear what I just said? I just said that this decision will be appealed by the United States Department of Justice. That's the answer to your question. We're looking at 1001, and we're also looking at a statute having to do with fraud, but it's up to the grand jury to make that decision. We're $1 billion over in cost overruns.
He was just getting his beak wet. See, your little bureaucracies, your the states, your little municipality, just like Chirac, all get a budget. What happens to the money? Who asks any questions? And it's funny as you break down the governors of the most corrupt states in the country, all Democrats. And you see what they did in a short period of time from New York, New Jersey, Illinois. They took states that had businesses and they chased them out because they bankrupt, and they use that excuse of taxing. And I'll get to the Hochul and all the rest of the hypocrisy of it. But it's more important. This is intentional. It's not misappropriation. It's not, oops, I don't know where the money is. They're stealing the money from state to state to state.
Can we explain to Californians how we moved from a $100 billion surplus to such a significant deficit in just a matter of a few years?
Well, it's, we can explain it. $349 billion of unprecedented capital gains, 11.6%, when traditional capital gains is around 5.18% on average. It's almost double. So you had massive volatility. You have requirements under Prop 2, the GAN. You have requirements under Prop 98, which...
And he'll blame the drought, he'll blame policies and procedures. But what he will not tell you, this fraud, lying moron, trust fund baby from the John Paul Getty fortune, Gavin Newsom, who's about a foot taller than J.B. Pritzker and can probably do at least 2 push-ups, unlike J.B. Pritzker, who can do none. What he will not tell you is very similar to what J.B. Pritzker will not tell you, or Kathy Hochul will not tell you, is that during the so-called pandemic, or as it's known on this show, the plandemic, California received $600 billion in excess federal money. They already received $380 billion in their safety net that they give to illegal aliens. They received another $600 billion at the same time. Gavin Newsom took the surplus they had prior to his governorship. He blew that. He blew the $380 billion. And he blew $600 billion.
Require that set aside. We use 93% of our surplus, which is, I want to be careful, either on the higher end or without precedent for one-time purposes. So we anticipated, because we didn't want that surplus to go to ongoing commitments. We anticipated.
Did you ever hear? This makes Kamala Harris sound like Socrates or Socrates, as she's known in Melrose Park.
Anticipated that shortfall. What we didn't anticipate is these rain bombs in December, January, February, and March.
What's a rain bomb? You mean weather? Well, wasn't it just 2 years? 2 years earlier. Weren't you complaining about fracking droughts, stupid?
And we are committing this year, in addition to that, working with the legislature, $5.1 billion budget specific to drought. Because of California's budget surplus, the $80+ billion operating surplus that we're enjoying here in the state, we're in a position to put $5.1 billion to use that will allow us to have emergency.
And you took care of that. The money is in the wind. And you think these imbeciles can run anything? Nothing. They can run nothing. And this goes for the Pugsley. Now he's on Ozempic, so he's Governor Oily Stoolstain. He used to be called Pritzker when he was a big fat slob looking like a beanbag. But the Ozempic trimmed him down because he's going to run for president against Gavin Newsom. Maybe they could run together. They could be like Laurel and Hardy, only twice as dumb with $1 trillion missing between the two of them.
We're doing extremely well in Iran. The difference between them and us is they had a Navy 2 weeks ago. They have no Navy anymore. It's all at the bottom of the sea.
We need to end this war, and it never should have happened. In fact, they should have gone to Congress anyway to get approval. And so the question of spending another $200 billion clearly...
Whoa, $200 billion? That's slippage in your ghetto state. Slippage in California, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. Not to mention how you and your sister, what'd you ever do with that Ukraine money you stole? See, Ukraine has $300 billion gone.
The wife of a Ukrainian politician has been caught allegedly smuggling $28 million and 1.3 million euros in cash. Anastasia Kotvitska was caught by the authorities in neighboring Hungary carrying cash stashed in suitcases. Kotvitska is the
neighboring
wife of...
Hungary. I heard that. Did you hear that, Squirrel? I heard it. Neighboring Hungary. It turns out something else happened in Hungary. It turns out that more recently, there was 2 carloads, 2 truckloads of our cash that was stopped at the Hungarian border. The Hungarian border, where it was stopped, $82 million and another $60 million in gold bars. All stopped at the Hungarian border. I can't help but notice the $300 billion that we sent to Ukraine? Can anybody tell me where any of that money is? And why don't you hear about that war anymore? Isn't it amazing how you don't hear about that war anymore? And the reason is you're used to getting the money stolen. You just need a good excuse to get it. And that's why now all of a sudden you're going to have Democrats from Illinois, California, and New York pretend they can run anything when all they can really do is misappropriate funds.
We've already spent billions and billions. We want to support our troops. We want to make sure that no one's, being put in harm's way as a result of not being supported. But on the other hand, we need to pull the troops back. We need to get out.
We're having a hard time. We want to talk to them, and there's nobody to talk to. We have nobody to talk to. And you know what? We like it that way.
He has done more in the shortest period of time than any politician has ever done when it came to the Islamo-Nazis. As the Islamo-Nazis have been killing our soldiers since 1979, but more than that, they've been terrorizing other countries. And nobody wants to talk about what they do and how they really live.
The very first terror attack in Kenya was witnessed on the March 1st, 1975, when multiple blasts hit a restroom at the Starlight nightclub, currently the Integrity Center, the Information Bureau, near the Hilton Hotel, and at the OTC bus station that left 27 people dead and over 100 people injured. The second terror attack in Kenya was the 1980 New Year's Eve bombing of the Norfolk Hotel in Nairobi, killing 20 people and injuring 80 others. The Kenya police at the time reportedly suspected the militants Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the PFLP, as responsible, and the militants later claimed responsibility, saying the outrage was in revenge for Kenya's relative tolerance to Israelis.
And in the meantime of all of this conflict, somehow, whatever is left of the Iranian government found time to hang a couple of wrestlers because they spoke up against the theocracy.
Iran executed 3 men accused of killing 2 police officers during protests back in January. This includes 19-year-old Saleh Mohammadi, a member of Iran's wrestling team. Amnesty International says he was denied, quote, adequate defense and forced to make confessions. So I want to bring in CBS News contributor and Iranian activist Masih Alinejad. So let's talk more about this. Thanks for joining us. First and foremost, why would a government target athletes specifically? What makes them uniquely powerful or threatening compared to other citizens?
Because athletes are not athletes in Iran. They are the role model and heroes of.
Just like in Cuba, just like in the Soviet Union, when you have nothing, they give you something to grab on. They make it athletes. So you're distracted from how much money has been stolen from the people, just like in this country.
Hungary's government has released dramatic footage it says shows Hungarian forces seizing Ukrainian money transport vehicles and confiscating large amounts of cash and gold in an incident that has sharply escalated tensions between the two countries. Video posted by the government of Hungary on Friday showed heavily armed counterterrorism officers jumping out of a van at a highway service station as 2 Ukrainian armored vehicles pulled in. Officers were seen pointing guns at the windscreen before ordering the occupants out of the vehicles, handcuffing them, and forcing them to lie face down on the ground.
Have you seen this on the news? That 2 trucks full of cash and gold were caught at the Hungarian border from Ukrainians. The same Ukraine that has misappropriated hundreds of billions. I just want to be clear, because J.B. Pritzker says we can't give money to Donald Trump and the military to fight the Islamo-Nazis. And I can't help but remember his sister being tapped by Joe Biden to rebuild Ukraine. Where's the money, fat boy? 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
Croscom. 630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to call Croscom. They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you. Call Croscom. Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Hey, I'm Steve Wyatt, and I want to invite you to the Wyatt Matters Show, which airs every Sunday on this station. You can expect lively discussion and heartfelt reflection that will both entertain and inspire you. And if we do it right, maybe deliver some genuine laughter as well. We talk about not only what matters, but also why it matters.
Wyatt Matters. Sunday morning at 6 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're nearing retirement, stop what you're doing and listen, because what's unfolding right now could hit your 401k or IRA harder than anything we've seen in years. Military escalation across the Middle East, a tariff war spilling into the courts, the U.S. dollar facing pressure that historically signals one thing: a flight to safety. Smart money has been moving into gold and silver, and it's not slowing down. Call Advantage Gold right now at 800-900-8000 and get your free gold investment kit, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's eye-opening book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their retirement savings into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty-free through Advantage Gold. The next news cycle won't wait for you. Get into position now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
AM 560. The Answer.
All of the Democrats that you see, not just shutting down the government, but refusing to fund what we're finally taking care of in Iran. These are the same scourge and scum and scoundrels that all come from bankrupt areas, and these are the same people that rubber stamped $300 billion to the most corrupt country outside of Chicago.
One of the things that Congress has given U.S. aid since this full-scale invasion began is an unprecedented amount of money in direct budget support, which sounds kind of obvious. Of course, we would do that. We want to stand with Ukraine, but it's totally unprecedented, this kind of scale of investment. And we're talking along the lines of about $15 billion.
This was in week
in a sense,
5.
cash to the Ukrainian government, which was famously corrupt, in past years and still has work, as you noted.
That's Samantha Power, who, that's not really her name. She's married to Cass Sunstein, lawyer for Barack, who likes to bob for quarters in the Forest Preserve. Cass Sunstein goes all the way back to the Clinton corruption, the Podesta pedophile corruption, all kinds of skullduggery. This is the network of the pseudo-intellectual frauds who steal our money.
The Biden administration has tapped former Commerce Secretary Penny Pritzker to lead the effort to rebuild Ukraine's economy. The Chicago.
Yo, Penny! Hey, Ugly! Where's the money? Where's the money? Who am I asking? You can't keep track of your own billions.
Megan, what will likely generate more of the questions, the heat, her management or her finances?
Betty, that's hard to say. Both are going to be huge. You've got this new IG report out on her banking past. You've got new financial disclosures that, as you mentioned, we got just last night. So let's start with the income piece of this. Forms released just last night showing that she underestimated her income by $80 million. Now, that's consulting money. A spokeswoman explained.
Maybe you were consulting Joe Biden before he had a couple of scoundrels blow up Nord Stream 2. Maybe that was your consulting fee that you made the $80 million. Did anybody find out who was asking Penny Pritzker for advice? It certainly isn't Maybelline. Mark in Monroe, Wisconsin.
Hey, Shaun, I really liked your Laurel and Hardy scenario when Pritzker ends up telling Newsom, that's another fine mess you got me into.
I think it's perfect, Mark. Did you ever notice how he's lost a lot of weight lately, and it's because of the Ozempic drip, and he wants you to pretend he's walking? Did you ever think you would see a time, and you sound like a smart guy who's been around the block a long time, when a man, rather than do a push-up or put his feet under the bed and do a sit-up, would take a drug whose number one side effect is oily stool? Did you ever think you'd live long enough to see that?
Well, I hope not.
Yeah, I blame Depends. They gave us a president and a governor who appears to have lost some weight. 312-642-5600.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Dr. Michael Huber, co-founder of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Virago has earned its place in your medicine cabinet. It's your proven go-to for the flu, colds, and COVID. But you already know that part of the story. But today I want to tell you that if you're suffering from diabetes, hypertension, or autoimmune diseases, we want you to know that they share one common thread. They are inflammation machines. And that inflammation assaults your heart, your brain, and your kidneys 24/7. It's a silent, constant attack on your vital organs, wearing them down every single day. Taking Virago every day shields your heart, protects your kidneys, and guards your brain from chronic inflammation. Virago, the new protective standard in immunity.
Order your bottle of Virago online today at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. If you're a business owner with unfiled tax returns, tax season is not your friend. This is when the IRS turns up the heat. They match 1099s. They review payroll filings. They compare bank deposits. And when returns are missing, they don't send you a warning. They take action. Penalties stack up fast. Liens become public. Bank levies can drain your account. I see it every year. Good business owners who waited too long, not because they're crooks, but because they were overwhelmed. Let me be clear, hiding makes it worse. Action makes it fixable. I help business owners get compliant, file what's missing, and negotiate from a position of strength, not fear. Don't wait for the next certified letter. Don't wait for a levy. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, step by step. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. Act now before the IRS acts first.
312-642-5600. Pete, George, Scott, that'll be the order. And if you care to join, just call 312-642-5600 after news with Patrick Johnson.
Good afternoon, Shaun. 60 degrees in Chicago. In the QC Kinetics newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. Governor Pritzker says Illinois' film industry has set a record after production companies spent over $703 million in the state last year. The governor says the film industry has a bright future in Illinois.
There are ways in which we might be able to attract editing facilities, post-production facilities, or people, I should say, to Illinois so that that work gets done here and not necessarily in Hollywood.
And those remarks were made at SynSpace Studios, which is the home for shows like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. Family and friends continue to mourn the death of the Loyola University freshman who was killed not far from campus early Thursday morning. 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman was with a group of people when a gunman opened fire and a bullet struck her in the head, killing her. The gunman remains on the loose. University of Notre Dame is expanding financial aid in a big way beginning in the 26-27 school year. Students from families earning less than $150,000 a year will pay zero tuition. Those making under $200,000 could see half their tuition covered. School officials say the move is aimed at making a Notre Dame education more accessible to students from all backgrounds. This report, a service of Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, easy to get off of I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981, foxvalleycoins.com. More news coming your way at 5 o'clock. Continuous coverage online, 560theanswer.com. To the traffic center, checking the roads with Gillard.
Good afternoon on the outbound Kennedy, 45 minutes from the Jane Byrne interchange to O'Hare, and the outbound Eden still wide open. Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, 50 minutes with slowdowns in the express lanes right around Kimball Avenue. On the ice now, we're going from the post office out to 390, hour and 5. We're seeing an accident northbound I-55 right near Reed Road. That's off to the left shoulder. Still a bit of a delay, though. A stall on the inbound Stevenson at Cass Avenue. Outbound Stevenson, 45 minutes. DuSable Lakeshore Drive out to 355. Dan Ryan, a half hour out to 95th. Express R tight, 35th to Marquette. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that is heavy either way, so is the Tri-State. And the Reagan eastbound is tight. Southbound 355 also very snug. Heavy westbound 80 Richards to Larkin. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with a low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then they help you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
Don't get stuck with the cold shower this winter. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Old man winter is here. Don't get stuck in the cold. And the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this winter special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive winter special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Selling your firearms? Get top dollar from national collectors. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Kick it!
It as a clerical error. And as we reported previously, the nominee is worth more than $1.5 billion. If confirmed, she'd be among the wealthiest cabinet officials in history. Her offshore accounts will also be fair game, as we've discussed. Pritzker disclosed last week she earned $54 million in consulting fees in the Bahamas.
And the penalty, she was the Commerce Secretary. And the Trillions and trillions and trillions were added. And what happens when you investigate or you get caught? Not just in Minnesota.
The Minnesota judge who tossed out a jury's guilty verdict in a fraud case is not the only judge in Hennepin County who had problems with the state's case. I broke this story that went national a couple weeks ago. Judge Sarah West acquitted Abdi Fattah Youssef 3 months after a jury found him guilty in a $7.2 million home health care fraud scheme. Since then, I've found that another judge, Amber Brennan, dismissed charges against Youssef's wife before it reached trial, and a third judge, Hillary Caligiuri, dismissed charges against another co-defendant.
And the other federal judges that were placed in there during after Joe Biden stole the 2020 election.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on
communist, Marxist, mafia, traitor judges. Those are the ones that are suing the Trump administration as we speak. Pete, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Chuck Schumer, when I hear his voice, reminds me of a used colostomy bag salesman. But that's not what I called for. I hope I don't get in trouble, but I want to plug your book.
Oh, thank you.
For all the people out there, all your listeners who have not yet bought it, shell out the $20 or whatever it is and buy it. It is absolutely phenomenal. Brings into since I've read it, it brings into focus things and topics that you talk about on a daily basis and makes them make so much more sense.
Thank
it's an easy read.
Thank you.
Not
I
a long
appreciate
book.
it. No, they kept making me shorten it. I said, you shorten, yes, shorten it. All right, so I kept doing it.
You could have left a couple of swear words out in the book, but nonetheless, still such a phenomenal book. And I want to tell everyone out there to go get it and read it.
That means the world to me, and I hope I get to meet you. Make sure you come to Shaun Fest. It's free. Bring the book. I might throw in a T-shirt. Deal?
Deal.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. George, Naperville.
Yes, Shaun, the reason our governor here in Illinois is against what's going on in Iran is because he is a lean, mean fighting machine, and he's afraid he'll get drafted.
Hey, George. Now listen. Now, don't hang up. I know you like to.
I'm listening. I'm
going to tell the people. I know you're from my neighborhood. How long you think he would have lasted if he walked in Slicker Sam's or Leone's? How long you think that butter-handed fat Banzi would have lasted preaching that mafia dung that he sells on a daily basis as policy? How long would he have lasted?
Not with a target the size of his head. Not very long.
Would have slapped the taste out of his mouth. I'd have graduated high school in his jacket. Scott Willowbrook.
Shaun, I want to do a shout out to this country, and I hope a lot of people are listening because I was watching television today, and I'm looking at what's going on in these airports, and I feel like I'm looking back into the Joe Biden stolen president 4 years that he had when he had people just coming over the southern border, one after another, nobody being checked, no IDs being thrown on the ground, And here we are, these people are being held up at the airports. And I can't help but look at these lines, and it looks just like the lines that were coming across that border, no problem, just walking right in. Meanwhile, our own people who voted to get that border closed, and they got what they wanted. And now the Democrats are going to pull this and make the people that voted for that go sit in the airports and wait to get on these flights so they can get out of these horrible blue states, mostly, probably, you know what I'm saying, and torture more time.
Well, here's the thing. It's the destabilization tactic, right? You destabilize. You destabilize, you demoralize, you confuse, and before you know it, everybody turns a blind eye to the trillions of dollars that are being stolen from them. That's the game. That's what we're experiencing. Now, who talks about shutting the border instantaneously? He gets sworn in, the border's shut in a week. In a week. Right. Meaning that the 4 years, and all the Marxist mafia scumbags let 12, 15, 20. Nobody knows. You're just guessing. Let them go through the border. That was meant to do exactly what it did. These are the people that were used as the excuse for these very select oligarchs in these states to steal the money. And nobody knows if it was really spent on them. How do you know? How do you know? Who's going to call? Ghostbusters? Is an illegal alien going to say, I didn't get my rent paid? How do you know? It's the perfect crime because the people you use as a stalking horse, they have nobody to tell. All that $1 billion in Chicago, $2 billion, $3 billion, who knows? It could all be stolen. You don't really think an empty lot was worth, what was it, $190,000 a month was the lease for an empty lot that had tainted chemicals on it? Whatever happened to that deal? Yeah. The perfect crime. Well, all you need are idiots
Shaun,
as excuses to steal the money.
Oh, I mean, all I can say is thank God that they couldn't spend enough money that we didn't beat them in that last election, because I do think that we're creeping up on them and finding this, and I hope we can do something about the fraud. That rich interview with Judge Janine, she's on this federal judge guy, and those are the guys that are protecting these scumbags too, by the way. You know
and by the way, now that they've got the voter information, I'm telling you, Scott, he won at least 3-1 over the office whore. At least, because the system was already rigged with a 0.3 advantage, meaning you needed 2-1 to just cancel out the one vote. So I'm telling
Absolutely.
you, there is overwhelming support for what Donald Trump is doing, and the play by the media is to make you feel it isn't. Well, they're wrong. Thank you very much for the call. They're wrong on all fronts. This is overwhelming support for what is happening. After all, we pay the costs. Granted, there's not enough money in the world to pay what Joe Biden stole, let alone Barack Obama. There's not enough money in the world to account for just the money in NGOs.
The Federal Reserve has revealed that U.S. NGOs have more in assets than the combined 2025 GDP estimates for Japan, Germany, and India combined. India and Japan's GDP each just over $4 trillion, Germany $5 trillion. About $13.5 trillion together. Guess what? The combined assets held by U.S. NGOs equals $14.2 trillion of
insanity. And you're going to listen to Kathy Hochul, and you're going to listen to Democrats talk about taxing people? Taxing people? Just take the money. You stole it anyway.
And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town.
See, I like that. Then let's move with that. You can secede by declaration. You Democrats, you go your own way, and we'll go our way. We'll have our own military. We'll have our own services. We'll have our own retirement. But see, you can't do it without us. You know why? Because you're bust-outs and you steal the money. You steal the money, and then there is no money. And now beg. Hey, you with the Botox in your lips, the antidepressants and the Merlot hangover. Now beg me.
Get out of town. Because you don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
But maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home. Because
bring back home how? You going to beg me? Or are you going to do it the way you Marxist Nazis like to do it? You're just going to take the money. Which is why this country is on to you scumbags.
How are voters feeling about Democrats right now?
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century.
It means something else. There's only one way Democrats can win. When you steal the election, like you did in 2020, you filthy animals. 312-642-5600.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
I remember sitting in the kitchen, heartbroken, overwhelmed, staring at costs and a list of decisions. I prayed for strength and reached out to Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, only to hear that Mom had already pre-planned everything so my siblings and I would be protected. Because she planned ahead, we weren't pulled apart by heartbreaking decisions.
Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5407 to schedule a free consultation.
Why would you take your precious metal collections to some fly-by-night roadshow that rolls into town once a year? The only thing you need to do is follow the road to Fox Valley Coins and show your gold or silver to the team. Gold is at an all-time historical high, so don't keep sitting on your coin hoards or old jewelry that you've been saving to sell when the time is right. The time is right now. Prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins in bars, but also those old coin collections. You might have scarce dates or higher grade coins, so take advantage of the record high market price and the demand now. Whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out values, trust the team at Fox Valley Coins. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just one light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have a lot of questions. How do you make your savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? I'm Edward Jones financial advisor, Nolan Webster. Let's work together to make sure your finances meet your unique needs over the long haul. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Call me at 224-801-6107 to schedule an appointment. That's 224-801-6107. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And now it's time for the Cat's Corner.
We need more common sense in Washington. Running a country is like running a business. Well, our current president, President Trump, knows how to run a business, and guess what? He's running a country like that. He makes common sense decisions. If we're going to send money to the Ukraine to help them, why not have the mineral rights? Why not have the oil rights on some of the other countries? Let's have common sense. We want our country, the United States of America, to be number one. Last week, criticized Iran for attacking its neighbors because some of their neighbors are also China's partners. But what President Trump, as a businessman, has done is unify the Arab world, unify Europe. Finally, no major wars in the future. Let's have common sense and have common sense prevail. I'm John Katzmatidis, and that's your Cat's Corner.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Where's all the NGOs helping the TSA agents and the government workers? Where's all the NGOs paying the rent, feeding, the things they do for illegal aliens? And I don't give a rip if they wrap themselves in religion or not.
What you see happening is it's a program at first, yes. There is a deliberate effort to resettle the Somali refugees by groups like Catholic Charities. So Catholic Charities makes a huge amount of money moving people, migrants, around to places in the country that don't necessarily vote to have that happen. You might... By one lens, you might consider Catholic Charities to be a human trafficking organization because that's what they do. They get paid. They make huge amounts of money to take people who've crossed the border illegally and distribute them throughout the United States.
This is great, Steve. I'm Catholic.
Well,
didn't know this.
Well, good for you. Catholic Charities doesn't really have anything to do with being Catholic. It's just a nonprofit that makes a ton of money and has some kind of affiliation with the Catholic Church. But the Lutherans do this as well. There's tons of organizations that are in this migrant resettlement business, and they cloak it in.
How big is the business?
Well, I think it's time we listen to the communists in America known as Democrats. Just take the money. Not from people who make money. Just take the money from the NGOs who can't explain how they got it in the first place, aside from stealing a few elections.
Don't need an ID to vote?
Well, it depends upon what state you're in, if it's a photo ID or not, if you have an affidavit. You know, Maria, for years I've covered and investigated voter and election fraud cases here at Fox News, and you won't believe what we found. Take a look at this. These are absentee ballots that were faked. Prosecutors in Troy, New York said politicians simply stole elections by handing in fraudulent ballots that they filled out as real votes. The unsuspecting voters we talked to said they did not even know their votes were robbed. So you didn't write that?
I did not.
You didn't cast a ballot?
I did not.
Did you vote?
No.
Did you fill out an absentee ballot?
Nope.
Did you fill out an absentee ballot application?
Nope, I didn't fill out any of those.
So your vote was a fraud?
It was.
And this is 13 years old. That's how long the government has known that these elections have been stolen. Stolen! And you know how I know they know, Squirrel? Every once in a while they confess. Here's an elected whore in Maine.
A viral video kind of came out of you saying that there may be non-citizens on our rolls. What prompted you to say that, and what's being done to make sure our rolls only have U.S. citizens on them?
I did not say that. Sure, there are, in some isolated instances, some non-citizens may be on the roll.
She pulled a Pritzker and just lied to your face. She pulled a Newsom. She pulled a Democrat. They cannot help but lie every time they open their mouth.
These atmospheric rivers that led to a federal declaration, that led to FEMA and the IRS moving in a direction where we couldn't collect our taxes until, I believe, November 16th.
Yeah, but what'd you do with the $600 billion from COVID? Hey, you with the slick back hair, trust fund pansy. What'd you do with the money? You stole it. So what are you going to do with the upcoming election? Well, you're going to try and steal that.
This is the new map of House districts that will be in place for next year. As you can see, Democrats think they will get 5 additional seats. The Republicans will go their delegation potentially from 9 down to as few as 4, as basically...
Not because the people want it, but because the crooked rat Democrats feel they can pull it off.
California, with Prop 50, you have the power.
You
have the power to stand up to Donald Trump.
You have the power to protect...
Hey, California Democrats, that first silver-tongued devil, married to that Bigfoot broad, the face of a dog sphincter, he said he was going to lower your insurance premiums. You mad about that? Nah, you don't give a rip. You don't pay your premiums anyway.
Reproductive freedom.
You have the power to stop election rigging.
You have the power to give America a
These are all the
midterm.
commies.
You have the power to restore checks and balances.
You have the power to stand up for everyone being erased by this president.
For all of us in all 50 states.
Yes, on 50.
Those are all the communists.
New communism is... It's sort of like what Marx did in his day, only for now. It's a whole theory and methodology of how humanity can advance beyond capitalism to a whole world where we transcend wars and nations. And
oh, really? Like the John Lennon song? Here's another scum, failure, fraud, self-loathing rat who disappointed his mother and his father and everybody he ever met, let alone the women he took his clothes off in front of. Another American communist. While the rest of the world said, I think it's time we kill the communists.
In Cuba, protesters reportedly torched a local Communist Party office in the city of Moron as people express a growing frustration.
Wait, does Sean Penn know? I thought he said him and Michael Moore. What about the Cuban healthcare? They don't love it? And the Cuban education system, they don't love it? How about the Cuban quality of life? What happened? The Cubans, they don't love it.
Over food shortages and massive blackouts across the island. A U.S. oil blockade has cut off Cuba from accessing desperately needed fuel as the Trump administration
Why didn't they need fuel? They got cars from the 50s. Is that why the cars got bad gas mileage? Or were they too stupid to have any other kind of form of electricity other than generators? The whole prison island ran on a generator, like a shack outside of some hillbilly town where they still haven't figured out you don't have to make your booze, you can go buy it.
Intensifies pressure to topple the Cuban government. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel said Friday he had held talks with U.S. officials, stating Cuba had not received oil shipments in at least 3 months.
I wonder if when the people take over, they'll kill more or less people than the communists did. then Che Guevara killed, then Fidel Castro, then Stalin, then anywhere these communists take over. You see, Squirrel, people don't really go into it easily. Sometimes they're wooed in the promises of utopia, but sooner or later they're going to have to figure out there is no utopia outside of you making your own utopia. And you can only do that in a country that gives you property rights. You can never do it in a communist country. 312-642. Oh, we have a guest? We've got a great guest coming up.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important conversations from America's most prominent journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Twitchy's kinetic group of editors deliver fast and amusing content around the clock to tell you who said what in global and political news, sports, entertainment, and media. If it's news, they're on it. If it should be news, they're ahead of it. Stay connected to the newswire of the 21st century with Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Air Right installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus with a message of perseverance, faith, and a shared global destiny.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before, since the book of Acts.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? What does the Bible say?
We have to become fighters in the spirit for God. We don't accept what the enemy wants to do with our culture. We don't accept what he wants to do with the nation. If we keep fighting, we win.
Powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller, The Dragon's Prophecy, combines history and scripture with faith, justice, and renewal. The Dragon's Prophecy, a new film by Dinesh D'Souza, now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes. It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The takeover of communist Cuba had some benefits for America. It turns out some of the people were able to escape. Some of the people that came here and understand and appreciate American principles, most of all, are victims of communism. My next guest is a descendant of one of those. David Kenzio will join us. He is the author of Gabriel Locke, Bound by Law, and Gabriel Locke, Bound by Fate. He is actually the co-author with his father, who escaped communism and understands it all too well. We'll be joined by David after News with Patrick Johnson.
Thank you, Shaun. 58 degrees in Chicago in the QC Kinetics newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. A top aide to Mayor Johnson speaking out after being fired. Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Gary Gatewood, was recently terminated. He met with the media afterward, talking about life on the 5th floor.
I think there is a culture in this office where when you work to hold people accountable, you become a target.
The mayor's office releasing a statement saying that Jason Sanford will serve as the interim deputy mayor. The short list of candidates for Chicago Public Schools CEO is now down to 2. Misha Porter, a former New York City schools chief, has withdrawn from consideration. That leaves interim CEO Macklin King and former East Baton Rouge Parish Public School Superintendent Cito Narcisse. All of the candidates were scheduled to interview with Mayor Johnson in a 15-member community panel this week. Porter dropped out prior to those interviews. Dennis Rodman is headed to the WWE Hall of Fame. The Basketball Hall of Famer will be inducted in this year's class. Rodman infamously skipped practice with the Bulls when they were in the 98 playoffs to make an appearance on WCW Monday Nitro. He would go on to partner with Hulk Hogan in a tag team. That induction ceremony will take place in April in Las Vegas during WrestleMania weekend. This report is a service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com or call 855-563-2843. That's 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, equal housing lender, and MLS 613114. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages tumbling and extending losses for the week, month, and year as the Iran conflict continues to impact both stock and energy markets. The market's losses deepened after oil prices erased an early dip and accelerated in afternoon trading. West Texas Intermediate crude, the U.S. benchmark, advanced and rose to over $98 a barrel and is up 46% since the Iranian conflict, while Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose to around $112 and is up 53% since the Iran war. Big tech and growth stocks led Friday's broad pullback, while energy stocks gained, and shares of Chevron rose slightly. The oil giant has jumped into the 20 most valuable listed companies in the U.S. as the war-driven surge in energy prices has lifted its stock. The Dow down 444 points, the Nasdaq lower by 443, S&P 500 down 100. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
So my friends over at Pure Talk have been sending me customer feedback from consumeraffairs.com, where thousands of people rate and review the top wireless providers. Here, for instance, is a nice note from James in Raleigh, North Carolina, who writes, quote, after hearing Mike Rowe's ad, we made the switch to Pure Talk, and we couldn't be happier. We went from spending $1,200 a year with T-Mobile to $420 with Pure Talk. Thanks, Mike. Switch today! Exclamation point. Pure Talk is saving James $820 a year. And because he literally wrote the words switch today in capital letters with an exclamation point, I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this commercial to him. So folks, take it from James in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pure Talk can give you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on the same 5G service the big guys are overcharging you for. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. You'll also save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 to save an additional 50%. Thanks, James.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Edens outbound trip, you're in good shape. The Kennedy, Jameburn Interchange to O'Hare, 45 minutes. Tightening up in the express lanes, Kimball to the Edens. Outbound Eisenhower, 1 hour. Post Office to 390. Northbound 55, a crash at Reed is off to the shoulder. It is heavy into that. Outbound Stevenson 50 to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Southbound 55 right near US 6. There's a car fire, so that's slowing things down as well. Half hour outbound Dan Ryan, tightening in the express, 35th to Marquette. Busy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way, and all of the tollways at this time are showing delays in both directions. This report is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
tonight will be mostly cloudy with the low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with the low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com. I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
Very fortuitous time to have our next guest on. And in full disclosure, our next guest and his father are friends of mine. He's more than just the author or co-author of a fantastic series of books, but it's very important you understand the qualifications David has. He is the son of a wonderful lawyer, a smart man, and somebody who understands the beauty of Americanism, being somebody who has a lineage in Cuba. The books are Gabriel Locke, Bound by Law, and Gabriel Locke, Bound by Fate. They are both out now, and I am waiting for the third book, as I always do. David Concio, how are you?
Shaun, I am fantastic. How are you?
Well, I am relishing the fact that as Cuba is literally imploding, American communists pretend that they are winning, even though the areas that they reside over are similar to Cuba. They're bankrupt. It is a catastrophe and a ghetto to live in, and it's hopeless with a certain futility that always communism delivers. I am excited about what's happening in Cuba. I feel like for the first time there is a future in Cuba. I'm wondering to know how you and your father see it.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. If you thought the Venezuelans could party, wait till Cuba falls.
You know, what's funny, too, is that they talk about they talk about energy in Cuba. You know, most people don't realize we're not talking about radiant energy and natural harvesting that Tesla wanted to patent and did patent and wanted to promote. We're talking they have no energy. They are running the entire country on generators that burn diesel and gas. It's insanity. No natural gas, no coal, no nuclear. But see, most Americans don't understand that's our energy, a combination of all of those things, delivering when you flip the switch, the light goes on. And Americans are too stupid to understand why they should appreciate capitalism, Americanism, because all of these communist areas, they can't even turn the fracking light on, can they?
No, they can't. And don't even get me started on, Cuba's supposedly world famous and incredible medical system. I'll be ready to throw somebody or throw a chair at somebody if we get into that debate. But no, the whole country is just in shambles. They were getting oil from Venezuela pretty cheaply in exchange for Maduro's, personal security force. And I think for the first time ever since the embargo was put on Cuba, this is the first time they're truly being squeezed. Because the problem with the embargo wasn't that we were cutting off trade, it's that everybody else hadn't done it. Yes. And now we've hit them where it hurts them the most, and it's energy. If you want to rule the world, rule the energy.
Well, and the funny thing is when you said about Venezuela, that now is in the filing cabinet, right? Most people forget about it. But when you look at all of these former communist, socialist, Marxist nations in Central America and South America, they're all transforming and rejecting communism. When you look at what's happening in Italy, in France, in Spain, they're all rejecting this idea of communism and socialism and Marxism. And yet we still have 50% of the Senate, 50% of the House. These are outright American communists, socialists, and Marxists. I see it no other way. I cannot explain why they still are peddling this bull dung. It must be even more perplexing to somebody like you and your father.
Oh, it's the most perplexing thing in the world. I think Javier Milei Argentina said it best. He said, we have this wonderful, beautiful world, and then you socialists came and absolutely ruined it. And that was, so he said socialist instead of saying the whole line of things. But, the reality is that if you follow the Austrian school of thought, value is decentralized in that, right? Value is done according to each and every person. So when you have an authoritarian regime, whether it's communist or, socialist or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, what you're doing is that you're centralizing value. And when you centralize value, you automatically disincentivize, the economic output of any nation.
One of the things that ties in to your books, as I see it, is what also coincides with this kind of totalitarian communism and Marxism and socialism is corruption. It's all tethered. It's all tethered. This is one of the biggest gripes I always had being a Chicagoan. The only way to get along with it is if you knew somebody, and they welcome that. The corruption in the Soviet Union, in Havana, Cuba, in Venezuela, always better to work and be a part of the government or the Politburo than it is to be a citizen, just like Chicago, just like New York, just like California. This goes hand in glove. There is no such thing as communism. These are theories. These are utopian fairy tales. The way that it operates and exists is the closer you are to the power structure, the better your life is. So the only way to even exist in these countries with any quality, not that there is one, is to be a party to it, just like it is in the Democrat areas. Do you think the Americans are smart enough to understand that rather than embrace it?
Smart enough to understand it is one thing. Ignorant enough to ignore it is another. And I think the reality is that you have a lot of Americans who are more concerned with, what their Instagram likes are and chasing, really frivolities versus actually looking at the seriousness of the situation. There is no doubt about it. Just like you said in Chicago, New York, Miami had that problem for a long time until they finally came and cleaned it up. And I'm sure that to a degree in every city, right, corruption exists. But there's a difference between the natural corruption versus the ingrained corruption, right? You're always going to find corrupt people anywhere. But the reality is how much of that is limited and how much of that can be controlled so that it doesn't affect the general welfare of a society, such as a city or a state, country, et cetera. Thank God President Trump got elected, and we're seeing the erosion of the deep state, but the deep state was the same concept, and it's only a microcosm of what every individual city and state may be suffering in their centers of power.
Now, your books, it's a fantastic series, and they do touch heavily upon corruption, the acceptability of corruption. And, obviously it's a little more centralized to a character and a theme, but this is all a big part of this. And I'm wondering, as you see in Minnesota, for example, I truly believe 90, if not 95% of the money of so-called entitlements was all stolen, as it is in all of these areas. But when you look at the amount of people that had to be in on it, the amount of people that had to be in on it and keep it relatively quiet, and understand the only way this could have happened is if it was orchestrated as the unindicted co-conspirator of government officials. This is who always makes this kind of thievery possible, isn't it?
Always. And that's existed, for all time. If you look at really the British government, the French government, the Spanish government, in terms of the colonial governments, it was always whoever could get closest to the central power was going to obviously prosper the most. Now, it's one thing if you've already built a reputable company and you've got a name that's associated with you, right? When President Trump met with Ford and GM and all these different companies during the pandemic, and they asked them to build the ventilators, it was a little bit different, right? Because you were searching for that infrastructure that clearly had to be had by companies that could adjust on a dime, which they did. But for the most part, in any kind of situation, when you have that, when you really look at corruption and analyze it, you're going to see the proximity to power and everybody just trying to get to it. And I could go deeper into that. If you really want to look at it, for me, one of the biggest problems was the financial deregulation in terms of hedge funds. And when you look at the government corruption, right, why are people resistant to touching hedge funds? And it's because it's a giant pot. Everybody's hands are in it. And when you start attacking that money and checking where it goes from, it affects what everybody keeps in dividends. And I think that the separation of powers like we have in our government needs to be applied in every single industry. There has to be a separation in order for there to be an accountability and checks and balances when it comes to corruption.
Well, one of the things, too, right, you take on an entire industry, hedge funds, you take on Wall Street. To me, what I think is just so obvious that we need to really get a hold of is this so-called rise of the NGO. I have a cut on the board where $14.2 trillion right now exists in U.S. NGOs. U.S. NGO assets in this country are $14.2 trillion. Now, NGOs, although they say non-government organizations, they're primarily financed by government. So this is a massive part of the $30 trillion we have in debt, and they operate with this veneer of charity and this veneer of success, when the reality is these are people that are, unlike even hedge funds, if I were to defend them, at least they practice in an economy. These people don't even practice in an economy. This is something that is unique to America. For instance, there is no such thing as an NGO that operates in Cuba. There's just a government. So don't you think this is something that really needs to be dissected and really needs to be understood and brought to the political world? Otherwise, it's going to swallow us up like it did so many other countries, isn't it?
Well, 100%. In my opinion, an NGO is nothing more than a front company or a shell company for a hidden agenda. And I say that because when you really start digging through it, the amount of money that actually goes to where it needs to go is a very small percentage, and the rest of it typically tends to be administrative fees, or I guess you could say very vague or obscure descriptions of where the money would actually go. And so, you know, for example, if I were dictator for a day, which I would never want to be, but if I had an unlimited amount of power, the first thing I would do is eradicate all NGOs.
Absolutely.
There has to be a certain level of accountability. And the problem in our country is that we have allowed an unelected bureaucracy to determine the financial output, the military output, the pharmaceutical output, and overall the well-being of each and every person, determined by an unelected, anointed group, as Thomas Sowell would say.
Now, the reason I like to talk about all of this is because really this is all part of the stories in your books. This is all part of it. And I'm wondering how you're seeing the third book. Is it almost out? I mean, I know we just released the second book, but how are things looking in the front of your book? And then please educate our audience on exactly how this whole thing took place in 1982 in Miami, and based on a lot of experience your father had and you. So because it all is, as far as I see it, this is all part of the discussion that's in the books.
Yes. Yeah, it is. So in the first book and in the second book, what you see are the testimonies of the clients that Gabriel has. You see it more in the first book than you would in the second book, right? And just to remind everyone, the first book is bound by law. The second book is bound by fate. But ultimately, through the testimonies of Gabriel's clients, you see the corruption that they ran from, the governments that they ran from, and then obviously the ability to do business in the United States, despite all of our faults. This is still the best country to do business in the world.
Absolutely.
And we have to be very grateful and very blessed with that, because at the end of the day, you can come here, start a company, and get things going. The other thing that I would say is that aside from the personal testimonies, the other things that you can observe is actually in the legal structure that the book presents. Right, and you see that when Gabriel goes to court, you see that in the motions that he files, you see that in the settlements that he decides upon, and that's really what you get a glimpse of in Miami in the 80s. Now, the third book is a little bit different, because the third book primarily takes place actually in Spain, and it's based off of a case, let me phrase that, inspired by, a case that my father had in the late 80s, and early 80s, I guess you could say, in terms of our actual family. So that's a conversation for a totally different day. But this actually has to deal with our family in northwestern Spain, and it is about the corruption involved in a family with the distribution of a large sum of money and an inheritance. And my father, in real life, actually had to go to New York City to litigate against his own family for the proper distribution of these funds after this corruption had set in, from an administrative and a family level.
So one of the things I like about your book, there's so many things, but one of the things I love about it is that ultimately law has some virtue, right? Law has virtue. And ultimately, you can seek that virtue and you can seek that shield and that protection, or even that conclusion based on law. When you look, and I am going to say, when I saw the 3 judges in Minnesota, 3 sitting judges, overturn a jury conviction of the Somalian gangsters, when you see the California judges, when you see the New York judges, Boasberg and the rest, single-handedly not only try to upend the Trump agenda, but try to upend any investigation into the money that has been stolen. I have zero faith in law and the protection of law for the citizen in any Democrat area where any Democrat judge resides. I don't know how you can come to a different conclusion. I never thought in the year 2026 we would have 3 different Democrat judges overturn jury convictions of millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud. This has to send a shockwave to Cubans and people who came here from communist countries, because this is the kind of thing they would see in their country, isn't it?
It's exactly what they would see in their country, assuming that it even made the news. And that's the reality of the situation.
I guess that's the difference.
Yeah. No, and actually the virtue that we have in this country for all of its problems and this and that is really the press. And I say it's problems not because the press inherently is good or is inherently bad, as much as it is, you and I both know that it's been very skewed to one side versus the other. But with that being said, there has to be something beautiful about the fact that we have this press, right? Freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and freedom of religion protected in our First Amendment right. And when you look at that, our founding fathers were brilliant, because really the public awareness is ultimately going to be the shield of the people. The problem is, again, when you look at judges are appointed many times. And so when that happens, you can see corruption that sets in when you have somebody that's basically going to be a lifer unless they become disbarred. And the problem is that there's not necessarily an oversight to disbar those individuals from being able to practice, and there's not really going to be recourse. The biggest problem that we have is that in our country, people have a sense of apathy toward the law because they feel that there's not punishment that is properly handed out for the gravity of the crimes.
Yes, and they have a certain complacency in the assumption that once you're a judge, you're no longer a politician. Well, that's another beauty of Trump. He brought out the fact that no. They're not judges. They're politicians in way too often a case. And the nice thing is it's provable. So I'm wondering, did you finally come back home from North Carolina? Are you a full-time Floridian?
Yes, I am, I promise. No, I've been living in Florida for 6 years now. We actually started our own publishing company, and we're down here in Palm Beach now. But no, I've been a Floridian for the last 6 years. But just to give you a quick update on book 3, I know that you said, hey, look, I love that book 2 is out. I know you guys are working hard. I need you to release book 3 in 2 months. But yes. It is going to release in April 2027, but I think we might be able to make an exception and give you a sneak peek if you're willing to write a review.
I'll even come and get it. I'll write the review. I'll come and get it, and you and myself and your beautiful family, your father specifically, we all have lunch together. Deal?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you for always making time, but more importantly, thank you for sharing all of these stories. The book I love them. They're absolutely fantastic. Gabriel Locke, Bound by Law, Gabriel Locke, Bound by Fate. What's the third one going to be titled, or are you not made a decision yet?
No, it's actually when you open up book 2, you see it. It's in the first page it talks about the series, but it's actually Gabriel Locke, Bound by Will.
Love it. And I don't have to be in the movie that'll be made from all of these or the series. Who knows what's going to happen? But I wouldn't mind just like a little backdrop. You know what I mean? Come on. Thank you,
Shaun. If you think that we wouldn't put you in there, you're mistaken. You'd be definitely in there.
Thank you. Where does everybody go to check out the publishing company? This is big news. You're gonna publish other things too?
Yeah. So we're not going to publish our own books. You should never publish your own books, but we will be publishing other people's books. And the exciting thing is that it's called Asturian Book Company. So you can find us at AsturianBC.com. So Asturian BC, just like book company.com. And that is the publishing house that my father and I created off of the success of the Gabriel Locke series.
I absolutely love it. Thank you for always making time for me. I look forward to seeing you and your father soon.
Absolutely. God bless, and God bless America.
Thank you, David. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's joint arthritis treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Hey, I'm Steve Wyatt, and I want to invite you to the Wyatt Matters Show, which airs every Sunday on this station. You can expect lively discussion and heartfelt reflection that will both entertain and inspire you. And if we do it right, maybe deliver some genuine laughter as well. We talk about not only what matters, but also why it matters.
Wyatt Matters. Sunday morning at 6 on AM 560. The Answer.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-215-8608. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-215-8608 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-215-8608 to see if you qualify. That's 800-215-8608.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
Around here, sunrise only means one thing. It's time to get to work. Whether you're hauling, herding, baling, or raking, Kubota tractors and hay tools are built to make hay any day, including while the sun shines. Learn more about how Kubota is built to get the job done right at KubotaUSA.com. Go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimers.
The WNBA announcing a tentative historic collective bargaining deal. Gee, that's great. Nobody watches it anyway. Now they're all going to pay for it. 312-642-5600. Mitchell, Rich, Andrew. That'll be the lineup when we get back. If you care to participate, 312-642-5600 after news.
Thanks a lot, Shaun. 55 degrees in Chicago in the QC Kinetics newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. A major change to college affordability. Notre Dame says it will offer free tuition to students from families earning under $150,000 annually. The new policy takes effect in the 26-27 academic year and expands the school's existing financial aid program. Notre Dame leaders say the goal is to remove cost as a barrier and open doors to more students. Republican Senate Minority Leader John Curran is pointing to a bill he argues protects homeowners from losing their homes because of delinquent property tax foreclosures.
Filed by Republican State Senator Erica Harris, Senate Bill 3782, known as the Fairness and Property Tax Foreclosure Task Force, seeks to reform the system in accordance with a recent Supreme Court decision, rendering such practices unconstitutional when the debt owed on the home is lower than the equity in it.
Court decision saying that people should not be losing the equity in their homes in a tax sale, so property tax foreclosure. Yet this is still going on in the state of Illinois.
Recent Census Bureau migration estimates show nearly 7,500 Illinoisans have recently moved to Missouri, where average property tax bills are less than half that in Illinois. I'm Greg Bishop.
News is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. See Marvin Products in their beautiful showroom at the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle, or visit woodlandwindows.com for a free in-home expert consultation. Next news coming your way at 6 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com on AM 560 to the traffic center. Back to the roads with Jeweler Chat.
It's wide open on Edens, Montrose to Lake Cook Road, the Kennedy, 45 minutes. To O'Hare from downtown, Eisenhower out just under an hour to get to 390 from the post office, and the Stevenson outbound a 40-minute trip out to 355. I-55 southbound right near US 6, car fire still blocking the right lane, and the outbound Dan Ryan 30 minutes, slowing in the express 35th to Marquette. Heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way with an accident northbound in the right lane right near Hollywood. The Tri-State busy either way. All the tollways are showing tie-ups in both directions still. Traffic is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with a low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Larry Elder is impressed.
Destroyed apparently half of Iran's missile capability. Half have achieved air superiority. The Iranian naval, bottom of the ocean. Top leader and 40 some odd other top leaders wiped out in one fell swoop. This is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Shaun Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus with a message of perseverance, faith, and a shared global destiny.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before, since the book of Acts.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? What does the Bible say?
We have to become fighters in the spirit for God. We don't accept what the enemy wants to do with our culture. We don't accept what he wants to do with the nation. If we keep fighting, we win.
Powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller, The Dragon's Prophecy, combines history and scripture with faith, justice, and renewal. The Dragon's Prophecy, a new film by Dinesh D'Souza, now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Got a large collection? We'll make it fit in your wallet. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Rest in peace, Chuck Norris, you handsome son of a gun. Tough as three people.
When I do push-ups, I don't push myself up. I push the earth down.
Undoubtedly, that was true. Mitchell in Des Plaines.
Hey there, Shaun. We talk about the Bay of Pigs. Under Eisenhower Nixon, it was called Operation Trinidad. They changed it to, what was it? Operation, starts with a V.
Boy, my father had the deployment papers that he saved.
Oh, wow.
Years. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow.
I can see it. I can't. It's it. All right, very good. Also, the name of George Bush's boat.
No, that's my point, because he ran that George Bush was in the CIA. He ran the Bay of Pigs. That's why they changed it.
Come on, Mitchell. Do you think there's something you know that I don't know? There's nothing you know that I don't know.
I know that. I know that there's nothing that I know that you don't know. I know that. So my point is that if we don't understand the inflation that Cuba has, we're going to have that stagflation next month on the next PPI report. My concern is that Trump doesn't ramp up this mission in Iran. Those energy prices and the effect on the PPI report are going to skyrocket. And don't be surprised, Shaun, if the Federal Reserve, no matter who's there in charge, will increase interest rates. What say you, Daddy-O?
Well, here's the thing. I think it doesn't. I think the bigger point of what is being done not only needs to be done, has to be done to destroy the infrastructure of corruption that you're railing about all the time. He is dismantling the CIA laundry system of both money, drugs, and forever foreign policy expenditures. You do know that, right? He's destroying it all the way it was put in. Venezuela first, Iran, cartels, all of it being destroyed. He's destroying the infrastructure George Bush put together, even Cuba, which will be ours. In fact, you will soon be looking at a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo overlooking the Havana region of the Nacional. Guaranteed, kid. Guaranteed.
I'm curious. Sorry.
What he's doing is dismantling exactly what you rail against. He's dismantling the CIA and their infrastructure. Think about it. Just sit on it for a while. This was brought to my... Well, I just agree with this girl. I put her name down. She's got a very interesting name. I will locate that while you listen.
This engagement with Iran is not exactly playing out as the globalists expected. The cancellation of war risk insurance by the empire's oldest insurance company was supposed to bring shipping to a halt, spike oil prices, and shatter economies. Operation Epicure was supposed to be economically and politically disastrous for President Trump and backfire against him. But the president was ready. He moved on 3 fronts simultaneously, and Lloyd's never recovered. First, he announced that the Development Finance Corporation would step in with political risk insurance. Lloyd's had pulled coverage. Washington replaced it within days. Second, he announced the Navy was on notice to protect shipping in the Strait as needed. And third, this is the move that tells you everything about how differently this president thinks. Trump lifted some sanctions on Russian oil. Not only that, he got on the phone with President Putin to discuss the conflict in Iran. So let's put this all in context. Last week, Donald Trump branded Britain as our former closest ally, the same Great Britain which has led the charge to sanction Russia and keep the Ukraine war going, and the same country which is home to Lloyd's of London, which just tried to strangle world oil supply. So instead, Trump turns to Russia to get oil moving and chats up Putin for an hour.
Does this mean Penny Pritzker isn't going to rebuild Ukraine? Her name is Avery Reynolds. She's a very smart lady. Very, very smart lady. Andrew, Cherville, Indiana.
Dude, what's the difference between Barack Obama and Ward Cleaver?
Ward Cleaver was heterosexual.
Kind of. Ward liked the beaver.
Oh, but bump. There you go. See? Nothing he knows I don't know. Rich, Indian Head Park.
Hey, Shaun, how you doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Shaun, I wanted to ask you a question. Trump wants all of these other countries to help get the flow in that straits again. Why aren't they helping them? Isn't it hurting their economy, the oil prices, or not?
Well, what's hurting? There's a couple of things there, right? So what's hurting the oil prices is that the Islamo-Nazi suicide bomber known as Iran are blowing up not just their oil fields, but their neighbors, their fellow Muslim oil fields, and they're blowing it up indiscriminately. That's what's really obstructing and handling oil prices. Trump's oil surge, so-called, was already on the way down prior to this. And when you ask about other countries, what other countries, Rich? You know, this is an illusion and a fairy tale we tell each other. There is no such thing as NATO. There is no such thing as the UN. These are nations that are financially raping America. They exist on the money they steal from us in the name of foreign policy, in the name of NATO, in the name of the UN. There are no other countries that agree with this. Of course they are. Just like the UN building. Just like the UN building. And if you look at the history of what that building was with not just Nelson Rockefeller, but the money and the fraud that's in that building. You know what you tell Kathy Hochul? Put the immigrants in the UN. The hell do we need it for? Put them in there. Shut the hell up. It's all bulldung. They've been financially raping us for trillions of dollars. And as far as Great Britain and London, they're Fabians, and they always have been. They're the scourge of the earth. I don't give a rip what anybody's been telling you. It's all a lie. Any group of people that believes there's royalty, you're just a step underneath the Islamo-Nazis of Iran. Thank you very much, Rich. Too harsh, Squirrel? I think not. In fact, I can't help but notice all of the people who celebrate Iran. It's the same Iran that just killed completely innocent kids because they didn't want to pretend that they had an Ayatollah asshat anymore. By the way, where is he? Where's the new Ayatollah? Anybody see him? He's dead.
Millions of people. When an athlete join the uprising and say no to regime, it breaks the propaganda tool of the entire regime. Athletes...
Nah. You're just an Iranian who lived through the Iranian propaganda. You must not have heard about the Iranian state TV right here in America. And they got their own propagandists. And here's the good news. They're easy to identify. They're ass ugly, like Joy Reid.
Our regime has secret police. They have secret police. Our regime is oppressing.
Who's our secret police? You mean the CIA or something? Is that who she means?
Women, taking away abortion rights, taking away women's rights in like 26 states, some states where they're trying to have the death penalty for having an abortion.
Abortions, they're taking away women's rights. Here's what's taking away women's rights in Islamo-Nazi territories. Do you know anything, Joy? You don't know anything. I could tell by your hairdo, you stupid son of a dog. Here's taking away women's rights, Joy.
5 years old, 7 years, 9 years, 6 years old. These are girls already sold into marriage, many too young to even know their own ages. 8 years, they're often prompted by their guardians. 6 years, the husbands they'll go to are a decade or more older. The last to talk is 5 years old. The youngest, in her father's arms, is a 7-month-old baby given in lieu of medical bills. The girls have no say. This in one of Afghanistan's poorest villages. And the deprivation here means girls are being sold into marriage earlier and more often.
But do they have abortion rights there? I don't think they do either, huh, Joy? That's what you mean? You stupid son of a dog.
They also oppress women. They have the highest rate of women who are in STEM careers. We're kicking women out of the military, out of university.
Did you know that, Squirrel? Iran has the highest amount of women in STEM careers. You know where she pulled that out of? her shoe, and I cleaned that way up. She pulled that right out of her Michelle Obama giant-sized shoe. 312-642-5600.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Why would you take your precious metal collections to some fly-by-night roadshow that rolls into town once a year? The only thing you need to do is follow the road to Fox Valley Coins and show your gold or silver to the team. Gold is at an all-time historical high, so don't keep sitting on your coin hoards or old jewelry that you've been saving to sell when the time is right. The time is right now. Prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins in bars, but also those old coin collections. You might have scarce dates or higher grade coins, so take advantage of the record high market price and the demand now. Whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out values, trust the team at Fox Valley Coins. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just one light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
AM 560.
The Answer.
I can't remember nothing, no. But the good time we used to shine.
Was that Teddy playing Teddy? I think it was. We got a new producer, Teddy Pendergrass. He's the sexy son of a gun. Not one Democrat. You guys aren't mad about all the fraud? No, not mad? Nobody's mad? Not mad? Wisconsin.
Maybe the country's biggest healthcare fraud case ever.
Federal investigators claim thieves billed Medicare billions, mainly for medical supply no one wanted or even received.
Oh, come on, Wisconsin. You guys are really cheeseheads. It's only $10 billion. A mere pittance. When you think about Minnesota, they got the judges, though. Don't worry, they'll let them go. The judges are in on the take.
In that case, Caligiuri said the state had very little evidence. Judge West's ruling relies on a review standard for cases that rely heavily on circumstantial evidence with wording that is unique to Minnesota. It says that the evidence has to be inconsistent with any other reasonable hypothesis. I'm following a state Supreme Court decision expected to come back.
The judge, however, discounted the jury decision that had him admitting that he had misappropriated at least $7.2 million. But the head the judge was on the inside. I wonder if it's the same thing in California.
One doctor billed the government $120 million in a single year, claiming to oversee 1,900 patients. With almost 2,000 hospice agencies, L.A. County has more than 36 states combined, and 30 times more than either Florida or New York.
18% of the whole country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
It's only possible, Dr. Oz, because the politicians in L.A. County promise to protect the criminals after they created the policies so that the criminals could steal the money. See, that's how it works. Unindicted co-conspirators, elected Democrats who come up with the policies. And how do they protect it? Well, J.B. Pritzker gives us a window into it, not in his oil-stained underwear, but in the idea there's a new project out there. Did you hear about this, Teddy Pendergrass? 2029. Ooh, what's that, you might ask? That's just communists, Nazis, fascists, misappropriating government to put people away who say things and do things they don't like. Kind of like when Joe Biden stole the election in 2020.
What does a Project 2029 agenda look like for you?
I don't think you can speak of it in shorthand, but I'll just say a couple of things that I think are absolutely necessary. One is we've got to restore the rule of law, and that means holding people accountable who've broken the law. I'm talking about in this administration, when we get a new one, the people in this administration who've broken the law and federal agents who've broken the law need to be held accountable.
And that means criminally prosecuted.
Criminally prosecuted, civilly prosecuted, whatever it is that we can do.
So every politician in every Democrat area where people stole billions of dollars, the politicians that created the policies, that incentivized the policies, and that used the power of government to protect the thieves, including judges, do they get to go to jail now while we are in charge? I think that's the question of the day. And then there's the whole thing about how you were able to gain power in the first place from stealing the election through rigging the system.
Well, those glitches were, it appears, programmed in software used in not just a few states, in 28 states in this election. The software is in the voting machines of a company called Dominion Voting Systems.
Wait, Lou Dobbs is going to get sued. Oh, he's dead? All right, then they're going to sue Lou Dobbs' estate that they didn't tax.
It is the largest voting company in this country, and quite a few problems occurred.
For 5 years, you couldn't say that. 5 years! You couldn't say the most obvious thing in the world. The Democrats steal elections. But we knew that 14 years ago. Had the evidence then.
Kentucky prosecutors said 20 public officials stole elections by buying votes, spending $400,000 to buy 8,000 votes over several elections.
$400,000, 8,000 votes, inflationally adjust. They overpaid. It's Kentucky.
You sold your vote. Mm-hmm. How much did you sell your vote for? $25.
$25?
Well, in Cincinnati, veteran poll worker Mallory Richardson was charged with voting in the 2008 and 2012 presidential election, not once, but 2 and 3 times. She pled no contest to 4 counts, including voting for her sister, who had been in a coma for a decade.
She was going to be a Democrat anyway, right after she died.
In Pennsylvania, 7 election officials have been hit with election fraud charges, deaths in the last year and a half, from cases of illegal voting to tampering with voting machines and adding phony votes. You know, a 2012 report by a Philadelphia Republican city commissioner found voting by non-registered individuals.
You know who's the victim of all this, Squirrel? The taxpayer, allegedly, but the debt. You know who's the victim now when you try to correct it? Turns out, if you listen to Chicago communists, the illegal alien is somehow the victim versus the perpetrator, as they are so many times in DUI murders, robberies, rapes, carjackings. But here, they're the victim.
You guys are talking about affordability and the high cost of childcare. Yet Democrats continue to vote to keep DHS shut down and unfunded. Do you think politics are taking priority over paychecks for, DHS, TSA agents, given the fact that there are so many dads working for these agencies who are now, struggling to pay the bills because they aren't receiving paychecks?
Well, appreciate the question. One of the things that we do know is that we do want to open up those TSA and different departments. Where we disagree is the fact that they want to fund ICE and CBP to go and continue terrorizing neighborhoods outside the bounds of the law. And this is one of the things that is also hurting people, our economy. People are not going to work. People are not, legal and people who don't have papers are both not going to work because they...
People that don't have papers aren't going to work? Why the frack should they go to work? They're here illegally. Oh, yeah, you're right. And they're on your welfare rolls and your voter rolls. We'll be back.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Writing about our nation's last greatest Republican president, Ronald Reagan, George Will wrote, quote, "At a turbulent moment, Reagan became the great reassurer, the steadying captain of our clipper ship. He calmed the passengers and the sea," close quote. At the rate things are going, President Trump may very well outdo Reagan. Yes, Reagan ended the long twilight struggle against Soviet communism, but the war in Iran has been waged against us for 47 years and gone on longer than that long struggle. Donald Trump has decided to end that war, and decisively. He's already taken out the communist dictator of Venezuela, and there is every reason to believe Cuba Libre will be more than a chant or a drink, but a reality by the end of the year. Killing off regnant communism in this hemisphere and the head of the snake of Islamism the world over, regardless of political considerations here at home, is the kind of thing we used to call heroic statesmanship. These ambitions and accomplishments have no equal. Trump may well be ushering us to freedom's finest hour.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're nearing retirement, stop what you're doing and listen, because what's unfolding right now could hit your 401k or IRA harder than anything we've seen in years. Military escalation across the Middle East, a tariff war spilling into the courts, the U.S. dollar facing pressure that historically signals one thing: a flight to safety. Smart money has been moving into gold and silver, and it's not slowing down. Call Advantage Gold right now at 800-900-8000 and get your free gold investment kit, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's eye-opening book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their retirement savings into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty-free through Advantage Gold. The next news cycle won't wait for you. Get into position now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Whose child is it anyway? Well, if you live in a Democrat enclave, a mafia-controlled area, your child is the government's child. It's through that child that money is appropriated, misappropriated, and stolen. For instance, in Chicago, $38,000 to send your kid to Chicago Public School, where only 18 out of 100 can read at grade level. Doesn't matter. Teachers all drive Lexuses. So how do you protect that monopoly? By making it very difficult for parents to homeschool their children. Ray Moore, the founder of Exodus Mandate, will be joining us to discuss how Democrat fiefdoms are misappropriating, misusing law to keep your child from being under your control, especially when it comes to education. We'll be joined by Ray Moore, the founder of Exodus Mandate, after Foxweiser.
Found liable. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A civil jury has found Elon Musk responsible for misleading Twitter investors before purchasing the company and renaming it X.
The jury in San Francisco found Elon Musk misled investors with 2 posts, including one that said the deal to purchase the company was on hold. But they didn't find he intentionally schemed to defraud investors. Former Twitter shareholders had sued Musk, arguing he drove down the value of the company, with comments including that he believed 20% of Twitter users were just bots. Attorneys for the shareholders said Musk intentionally tried to drive down the price as he negotiated a purchase, which he would later make for $44 billion after initially trying to back out. Musk testified at trial that he believed Twitter had far more fake and spam accounts than the 5% it had claimed to have in regulatory filings.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Even as the U.S. military moves to send more troops into the Middle East, President Trump suggesting the action in Iran may not last much longer.
President Trump announced via Truth Social that we are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East. He also said that the job of securing the Strait of Hormuz will be countries that use it more, not the United States.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. Another procedural vote that would have funded the Department of Homeland Security has failed in the Senate.
Every Democrat voted no except for Senator John Fetterman. The final tally was 47-37. Both sides had a bunch of absences today. But the bottom line is this 5-week-long DHS shutdown will continue now.
Fox's Bill Malugin at the Capitol is shut down, causing major delays at airports as TSA workers have been not showing up for work. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from enforcing a policy limiting news reporters' access to the Pentagon. America's listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
It's okay on the Edens outbound trip. Kennedy at 45 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Still tight in the Express, Kimball to the Edens. Outbound Eisenhower 1 hour, post office to 390. And the Stevenson outbound 38 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Southbound 55, there's car fire in the right lane at US 6 solid from Route 59. Outbound Dan Ryan 25 minutes. Heavy along to Saba Lakeshore Drive either way. The Tri-State is busy either way, as is the Reagan. 355, though, is actually starting to clear up. And 8094, a heavy westbound Central to Kennedy Avenue. Traffic is a service of American Beam and Steel. Structural repair licensed contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark. American Beam and Steel. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy with the low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with the low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. This week on Capitol Hill is the best way to get informed on everything going on with Congress. Hosted by Tony Perkins and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
2025 was setting the table. The feast and the banquet in the economy will be 2026. And it's beginning to happen right now. Bigger tax refunds, bigger paychecks already beginning and more on the way. The big, beautiful bill is being implemented right now.
Stay informed and become a regular listener. This week on Capitol Hill, Sundays at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
The success in education does not lie in public schools. It's not just Chicago. It's New York, it's Philadelphia, it's California. The failure is absolutely astonishing. I believe it's malpractice. However, there is a bright spot. That bright spot has massive growth, massive success, where kids are taught by people who love them. It's called homeschooling. My next guest is the founder of the Exodus Mandate, Ray Moore. How are you?
Hey, Shaun. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I love having you on because it's a very important topic. And you know, when you just look at the data, you just look at the information, it's not even close when it comes to academic success, when it becomes test results, quality of life. Homeschool students are not only growing in numbers, thank God, but they are far more successful, have a far better chance at a successful life than any public school system in this country, the way I review it. How do you see it?
Absolutely true. And we have a large a body of evidence now. It's not just speculation that what you said is true. We've been at it. Really, we kind of date the modern homeschool movement from about 1980. So there are millions of children who are products of homeschooling, and we can see their success and how they're performing, including my children. My wife and I started homeschooling in 1977 in West Lafayette, Indiana. I was finishing up my seminary training at Grace Seminary in Winona Lake and only had a thesis to write. So we were down on the campus at Purdue University starting a campus church, and our oldest son was 6 years old, so we started homeschooling then. He's 55 now, so it's been a long time. But, yeah, we've seen so much success, and there's a lot of research done on that, so it does work very well.
So he can still read, unlike 82% of Chicago kids. Did you know that, Ray?
No, I know it's terrible up there in the public school system, but I just don't know the details.
18% of Chicago public school kids can read at grade level. 11 can do math. There are 40 schools where 0 can read and 0 can do math at grade level. And you know what's funny, Ray, if you just look at the numbers, right? So Chicago, they spend between $28,000 and $36,000 a year per pupil. That's what they spend. If you were to look at public schools on a national average, it comes down to $16,446 per pupil. So when the last study was done, there were 3.1 million homeschooled kids in the country. Now there are 3.4 million, but let's just go with 3.1. That means if you just took that average and you took the 3.1 million kids, that means those homeschool parents save the nation $51 billion a year of tax dollars. Think of that. Just the savings in tax dollars. And did you know, Ray, what homeschool parents spend on their kids, on their education, on average for a year of homeschoolers? Do you know what it costs homeschoolers? I'm sure you do. $600 a year.
You can do it for easily less than $1,000, and if you have several children at the same time, it becomes very inexpensive. You know, basically you have to buy curriculum and things like that, but you don't have to pay a teacher.
So, Ray, the only thing that could really hold this up, aside from active parents that want to get involved, but there seems to be another problem, especially in Democrat fiefdoms, or as I call them, Illinois. It appears that the government itself wants to obstruct the parents' right to actually raise their own kids and educate them. Does it seem that way in just outside of Illinois? But it seems to be a big problem, isn't it?
Well, it's in a number of states right now: Connecticut, Hawaii, West Virginia, which is not a red state, but New Jersey, Illinois. There's states that are trying to pass legislation against homeschooling that will regulate it, maybe regulate it so much that they would try to put it out of existence. Having said that, there was a lot of litigation against homeschoolers in the late 80s and early 90s. And the Homeschool Legal Defense Association litigated a lot of those cases in courts in the different states, some federal and state courts, and actually won about 90% of the cases. So until last year or so, homeschooling has been pretty unregulated. There's some regulations, and it differs in different states. Some are freer than others, but now there seems to be a real serious effort to try to push it back by regulation.
And you know what I noticed, Ray, growing up in the Chicagoland area, the tremendous difficulty, decent people who want their kids not to be part of gangs and not to be bullied and not to be intimidated, they haven't really been aware or taken advantage of this option. But when you look at what thrives in Chicago public schools and New York and the rest of it, it isn't education. It isn't even the student. It is the culture of intimidation. It is gangs. I believe that a lot of these schools are used as a recruiting mechanism for the worst parts of society. And they also are learning from the other kids rather than from teachers, as the data would prove. And you're turning over your kids when they are unsure of themselves, when they are susceptible to be intimidated. And the other side effect of this is the massive uptick in antidepressants in kids that are diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. What are the statistics among homeschoolers when it comes to kids who are on antidepressants and kids who have been given the diagnosis of attention deficit?
Well, I don't know the actual statistics, but I would say that those problems are small by comparison. And, of course, if you're most of the people who are homeschooling are Christians or people with strong traditional and moral values. And so those things, don't come into the home so much, even though they could.
And, as you're talking, I'm about a little older than your son. And I'm remembering when I was young, who were the advocates for homeschooling then? But the California hippies. You remember? They had the.
Well, we were among the early pioneers. I think there's no way of knowing in 1977, but we could have been among the first several hundred families in the modern era. But in the late 70s and even the early 80s, people who homeschooled really kept quiet, and they didn't go out of doors and didn't even let their neighbors know about it in some cases.
But the idea that we now have this strong arm of government, when you think about it, it was the communes and the hippies that didn't participate in public schools in all of the California and the West Coast areas. And I find myself laughing again at how the hippies have conformed. The same hippies that were against vaccines are the same hippies that said we had to have vaccines during COVID. The same hippies that were against public schools are the same hippies now that say you must have public schools. I find that to be just more than amusing. It's a conflict of character, isn't it?
Right. Of course, today it's mostly conservative Christians, evangelicals, conservative Jews, traditional Catholics. That's where it all is coming. And people are doing it because they want religious instruction. They want moral values. They want to have a stronger home and family life. So it's really a different constituency.
Well, you know what I find fascinating to look at is the bastardization of our language and how definitions are misused, right? And my point of why I wanted to talk about the communes and similarities with people such as yourself and your family and your mission is because if you believe in the principles of the Enlightenment of which America is based on, religion, and even the absence of religion in some cases, you believe in the true liberalism that made this country wonderful. And I can't help but notice is that the modern communist, the modern Marxist, and the modern fascist all hide in the Trojan horse of liberalism when the real liberal is somebody like you and me. The real liberal is somebody who just wants to be left alone and wants to be in control of our destiny and the people we love's destiny. This is really the crux of the argument. What you're only advocating is kind of what your book was about. Let my people go, right?
Right. Yeah, that's right. We did it because we were concerned about academic performance, and my wife was always planning to be a teacher. And our children have done extremely well. Of course, they're grown, and I have 9 grandchildren now. Now, they're mostly have been in private Christian schools rather than homeschooling. But we've had a good experience in our family, and my wife and I have been married 56 years, and we're just coming to the end of our journey, even though I hope it's not too soon. And we're very happy about our children and our grandchildren.
Well, you know what's fascinating, right? You have the wife that wanted to be a teacher. You're obviously somebody who is a very faithful, very Christian person, and you wanted to do it that way. But in the statistics that I'm referencing, they're not the statistics that I got from you. They are the statistics from the actual data in homeschooling. And did you know that all of these stats, the vast majority of the parents are not somebody like your wife who wanted to be a teacher? The vast majority.
That's true. In fact, it's really, really growing in the minority community, the African American communities. The homeschooling is exploding there. Maybe 18% of African American families are homeschooling. And we work very closely with a group in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'd urge you to have them on your show. It's the National Black Home Educators. I think it's nationalblackhomeeducators.net. And they have, say 15,000 families that are dues-paying members and really growing. So it's really growing, and I think in the Hispanic community as well. So it's not just something that white Republicans do.
No, in fact, it's 41% of all homeschoolers are non-Caucasian, or as I like to say, Caucasoid. I like to use the classic sense of the word. But you do, that's the part that we have to kind of combat, and it's sad that we have to combat that. But that's the way in which these conglomerates that monopolize education and monopolize your children, they like to talk in the terms of race. So I think it's important to reference that 41% of all homeschoolers are not Caucasians. This is something that I think really needs to be built upon. And when you look at the beauty of technology, technology can be anything you want it to be because it's a tool. But when it comes to homeschooling, there is no question you could ask that cannot be answered by now what we carry in our hand. This is the other thing to embrace is technology in homeschooling, isn't it? Right. Yeah. People can use the internet and computers at home, and there's so much things that we can access that way. And then, of course, there's a vast whole new curriculum industry for homeschoolers and private Christian schools as well. It's just there's so much new and good curriculum that it's hard sometimes to decide which one you want to use. Ray, as we talk, it's a fascinating reality what we've been able to see in our lifetime. When you and I got started in education, when you were raising your son, there was no convenience the way it is today. And when you look at the information and the data and the failure of public schools, there is literally zero reason to not homeschool your kids unless you're lazy. This whole idea parents, of what... Parents are intimidated and told that they can't do it and don't have the ability to do it, and it's just not true. You don't even have to, be a college graduate. Of course, my wife and I are, and I would say 70% or 60-70% of homeschoolers do have a college graduate in the home. But we know a lot of people that are not that educated, and they homeschool their kids, and they may even be a truck driver, a car mechanic, and some working in a home, domestic or something like that, and they gives their kids a chance to go way beyond what they have been able to achieve, and their kids go to college and even go to some Ivy League schools because of the home education experience. Well, there's also the stoking of fear, right? When you listen to the argument against homeschooling, it's about fear, obligation, and guilt, as all communism and Marxism is. But they tell you that your kid will not be able to socialize the way he does in a public school. And, this is laughable to me. Because when I come in on a Monday and I go over the numbers of the people who are shot, most of them are young kids. Most of them are kids who might have pretended to be socializing, but they were intimidated into joining gangs. I think the absence of socializing, especially when you live in a deprived neighborhood or a bad area or a blighted district, I think you have to protect your kid when you're young. I think that's another lie about socializing. Now, of any of your kids that are homeschooled, is there anyone that is not socialized that is a recluse? Well, we believe that the primary relationship that children should have would be with their parents first, their siblings next, if they're in a church or a synagogue, they should be with that group third in importance, and then those outside last. So, the socialization argument against homeschooling is a faulty argument. And these children are very well socialized, and most of the socialization that would go on in the public schools is harmful. Of course. And, when you really think about it, what do we do in this system as it exists? You turn your kids over when they have the least amount of enforced character by their family. You're turning kids over to schools when they're 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. These are the kids that do not have the enforced character that was given to them by their parents to be able to say no to bad things, to be able to stand on their own. This is when they're the most pliable. This is when I believe, after researching it and witnessing history as it's been written, we've been doing education in this country exactly wrong. And no child should leave their house until they have the confidence of character that can only be given at home. And I don't think kids should even leave to go to school until they're 18 years old and they have the development of who they're going to be. Don't you think so?
A lot of families are actually home. My wife and I homeschool up to about middle school because it was very intimidating. When you get to high school level, you don't feel qualified to teach calculus or advanced math or AP courses, but more families are actually taking it all the way through the 12th grade, and those kids turn out very, very well, and they get into top universities. They have to take the SAT score, and they score very well and very high on it.
Yeah.
So the homeschoolers they're academically very successful.
87% of homeschoolers score higher than all other schools, which is a staggering reality. And as you were talking, who else isn't qualified to teach calculus? I don't know if you've been able to, on your television where you live, to ever watch a Chicago Teacher Union representative argue for more money, but they certainly can't teach calculus either. My money is on Ray Moore and ExodusMandate.org. Is that where everybody should go to keep an eye on you?
Right, ExodusMandate.org, and then there's another website that I'm chairman of the board. I don't run it day to day, but it may have a little more information on just how to get started and curriculum and these kinds of questions. And that website is publicschoolexit.com. I'm a co-founder and board chairman, but I'm not the CEO and the daily director. And that ministry is based in San Diego, but it works nationally. And we work very closely with the Illinois Family Institute, which is based in Townley Park. And I want to give a shout-out to them. I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with them. It's the Illinois Family Institute. They are sort of affiliated with us.
Well, Ray, there's only so many hours in the day. How many things could you be the chairman of the board? But I give you a lot of credit because what I've witnessed is how successful you've done and your willingness to share it to make other people's life better. And as you're talking, I just keep thinking, I would love to know the data, the statistics, on how many homeschooled kids were not only victims of being drugged through depression diagnoses or attention deficit disorders, but how many homeschool kids end up being drug addicts and end up being homeless. I'll bet you it's an infinitesimal statistic. It's all around a better way to do it. And it's only through the willingness of you and people like you to share this secret in a quality of life that you've been able to pass on to your kids that it's possible. So thank you for that.
Well, part of the reason for the attack on homeschooling today, the excuse that the radical left gives for these recent efforts that we're discussing at the beginning of the program, is they claim it protects children from abuse. Well, it's very rare in the homeschool community, and if it happens, and it could, these parents rarely happening, but they would be prosecuted. But there's a lot of abuse that goes on in the public schools, and nobody's talking about that.
There's thousands in just Chicago. Thousands.
Yeah. The reason is not because they're concerned about abuse, but I think the main reason is that our movement is growing so fast. It might actually be 5 or 6 million homeschooled children now. We don't know precisely because it's so fluid. But the left is very concerned that they're losing the control of the culture going forward, because if we train these children in homeschooling, they're going to be Christians, they're going to be conservatives, they're going to believe in traditional values, and it will change the culture. And the left is fearful that they're going to lose control of the culture, because they have it now because of the left higher education and then the public school system. So we can redo and rebuild our traditional American culture through homeschooling and also campus Christian schools.
Well, from the Nazis to the Soviets to the Havana Cubans, the only way you can breed people who accept this kind of failure and corruption is to do it in the schools. And what you're doing is combating that. specifically. I love the fact you're doing it, and I can't wait for that number to have a 1 in front of it. I think that's the only way we're going to beat it, because you can't learn how to read, you can't learn how to do math, and you can't be an American Democrat. Feel free to put that on the site, Ray. I won't charge you. Ray Moore, thank you for making time for joining me.
Thank you, Shaun. That's great to be on it. We have some friends in the Chicago area, and I just hope maybe they're listening in.
Exactly. I agree with you. And, Ray, if you ever need anything or you want to get something out, you have an open line, okay?
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Ray. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Air Right installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
When someone you love is living with memory loss, finding the right care isn't just important, it's everything. At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, memory care isn't an add-on, it's all we do.
When Mom moved into Terra Vista, everything changed. She's safe, engaged, and surrounded by people who truly understand dementia. And I finally get to just be her daughter again.
Terra Vista was built specifically for caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia, with secure indoor and outdoor spaces, innovative therapies, and a community that feels like home. Residents stay active, connected, and respected every single day.
And the best part? Mom can live with dignity, and I have peace of mind.
If memory care is in your future, choose the community designed for it. Choose Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace. Schedule a tour today at terravista.org. Again, that's terravista.org, and tell them AM 560 sent you. Terra Vista, where memory care lives.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms do apply.
312-642-5600. Greg in LaGrange. I'm going to take him first. Thinks I'm crazy, but that's all right. Most people do. But here we are. And I'll take the rest of your calls after Patrick Johnson.
51 degrees in Chicago on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Patrick Johnson in the QC Kinetics newsroom. The search for the new Chicago Public Schools CEO is narrowing. Former New York City Schools Chief Misha Porter has withdrawn from consideration. That leaves interim CEO Macklin King and former East Baton Rouge Superintendent Cito Narcisse as the final two candidates. Illinois' roads and bridges continue to lag behind most of the country, dropping one place in the ranking to 37th, according to a new report from the Reason Foundation.
For Illinois taxpayers, the findings raise questions about whether the state is getting enough value for its transportation spending. Brouch Feigenbaum, the foundation's senior managing director of transportation policy and lead author of the report, said the state's biggest weaknesses are clear.
I think the implication is that the state could be doing a better job using transportation funding, particularly fuel taxes, to maintain roadways and improve roadways.
Feigenbaum said a number of policy changes could help improve the state's highway system, including a stronger focus on cost-benefit analysis when selecting projects.
Illinois has been pretty consistent as a middling performer in this report over the last 10 years. This is not a one-time blip.
Pavement and bridge conditions remain among some of the poorest in the nation, despite high spending on maintenance projects, according to the report. I'm Shaun Reed.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Kyle from Blindster.com started Blindster in his garage over 15 years ago to make custom blinds easy and affordable for everyone. You measure, you install, you save big on custom blinds. Plus, they guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com. The next news coming your way at 7 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. On AM 560 from the Traffic Center. Check of the road. Visual check.
Here is a final look at the roads on the outbound Edens. No delays, but Kennedy. 40 minutes out to O'Hare Express are tight. Kimball to the Edens. Eisenhower, a 40-minute trip. Post office out to 390. Stevenson at 38 to 355 from downtown as well. Dan Ryan downtown to 95th, 20 minutes. Although very sluggish in those express, still from 35th to Marquette. 57 is clear, so is the Skyway, but heavy conditions remain along DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State either way. As for the Reagan, that's clear. Eastbound Jane Addams a little tight in the 53 and 355 also in better shape. Things are looking up. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins in Naperville. Easy to get off I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a low of 35. On Saturday, expect partly sunny skies and warm temperatures with a high of 70. Saturday night will be mainly clear with a low of 44. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Mike Gallagher finds it hard to believe.
CNN describes the two terrorists in New York City as two teenagers from Pennsylvania who crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day before they threw a bomb and tried to blow up a bunch of people. It almost becomes impossible to believe.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith, doors, and security systems company since 1981.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Selling a collection or just the high-end antiques? Get top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
It's the biggest regret I have, Squirrel, really. I thought I was doing the right thing. Parochial private schools. Big mistake. Greg LaGrange.
Hey, Shaun, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I want to take apart some of the argument that you made and talk about some of the practicalities that need to be addressed, I believe. I don't believe that children should be siloed in homeschooling by themselves. I think that would be a very bad idea. It would repress the child as a growing and evolving individual and how he deals with people. My problem here is twofold. One is the reliance too much on technology and the fact that if we silo kids, they will become repressive.
Why?
I would imagine for the most part.
Why? I'm curious, though,
they don't have
why you're using a word that I think is very tailor-made to your argument. Why would they be siloed? I mean, are you boring?
Well,
what would you do? Would you just get up and you may say, here's your cereal, now open to chapter 2? That's how you do it? You wouldn't say, let's go to the Art Institute, let's go to the Science and Industry, let's go here, let's go there, let me show you things. You wouldn't do that?
I think the biggest arguments I have against what the arguments made is I understood them was I think children need to learn in a group, and they can be homeschooled. That doesn't mean that's not mutually exclusive from the fact of having homeschooling. Quite the contrary. You need a group of kids together to go through the homeschooling process together. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Okay. Well, I think there are two different things, right? Your kids could still socialize. They could socialize within the neighborhood. They could socialize within your sphere of influence. They could socialize to whatever your ambition is for socializing your kids. This is talking about strictly educating the kids. The two are mutually exclusive. And if they're not, you're putting a lot of faith into a group of people you've never met. So just the statistics, of kids on drugs, and I don't mean non-prescription drugs, prescription drugs. 10% of kids, 10% are on drugs in public schools. How is that possible?
I know that, and I think that's possible in a couple different ways. Broken homes, improper discipline.
It's lazy, stupid teachers who have the power to diagnose your kids and influence your kids into permanently putting them on drugs. And you are looking, I know you do, you watch the news as I do, you see these slovenly morons that cannot say the word ask as teachers as they argue at $38,000 a year. How many Chicago public school kids are either on behavioral drugs, antidepressants, or sexually molested by teachers? What is the stats?
I know that's extremely high. But with a homeschooling, I'm not saying you open it up to everybody in the neighborhood. You get like-minded people together of the same ideology and the same commitment to help work together to bring them up as a group. And I'm not saying you need 30 kids. I'm saying maybe 10. You're going to have small little independent policies.
Yeah, you could do that.
Kids learning.
You could do that.
Yeah.
But think about in your own life the influence of the people who made you smarter. I'm curious, and I'm asking a question. I don't know the answer. In your life, in Greg from LaGrange's life, who expanded your intellect? Who made you search for information? Who questioned you and who educated you more? Your family or strangers? I'm curious. I don't know the answer.
No, I mean, our parents obviously raised us with certain values, and that's true. And they sat with us, and believe me, I was the laziest, slothful kid in school. My mom would sit up with me until midnight to make up my math homework I didn't do. And that was a commitment that existed then. But I'm saying that children that learn together will grow together and interpersonal communication will be better. And then they get to dialogue back and forth on different topics.
Yes,
and discuss
I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with that, especially if you have more than one kid or you have a group of kids. But think about this for just a minute. We are living in the reality of people who turn their kids over for 6 hours a day, if we're lucky, really say 8 hours a day with travel, to complete and total strangers. By the time you get them back, those mothers, for the most part, don't exist to the extent yours did, to educate you in the way your teacher couldn't during the day because you said I was lazy and my mother helped me learn. Well, what if your mother could have done that during the day? How much more could you have learned? I don't think you can look at the reality of our society today and be an advocate for schools the way they exist, especially public schools.
I do not advocate that at all. I think our schools are nothing but indoctrination zones taken right from the literal text of Lenin himself.
Right.
But I'm
what do you
saying get kids together that have shared values ideologically, our kind of people, and get them together and have them learn in groups. So they'll grow people together. They'll be able to discuss issues together and communicate better.
And
I'm
plus,
all
think
with
about
you, Shaun.
think about. I know you are, but think about the difference in society. If the books that you know are important were actually introduced to your kids. How many kids in grade school you think read Locke? How many kids in your grade school actually read about actual history and facts? If you did not have public schools, you could not have communist, socialist, Democrat areas. I'm dead serious. You cannot get somebody who can reason and think that can be a Democrat in America in 2026. Thank you very much. I know you agree. I know you agree with me. It's just, this is something we have to realize. If you want to change things, you change it the way it was put in. You rip out the foundation. Brian, Bolingbrook.
Hey, Shaun. So my wife was a public school teacher. She saw that the inmates were starting to run the asylum. We thought homeschoolers were weird, but we had some neighbors who did. We started 20 years ago. I got 7 kids.
Wow.
Graduated 5. I still got 2 at home, but, the idea that you're going to like you were saying to that gentleman, your kids don't get up and just sit in the house. You go out, you go to the Morton Arboretum, you go to museums, you're in Park District sports, maybe you're in your local church. My kids actually have played junior high and high school sports because we pay taxes into the district. So this idea that we're raising these, hillbillies in the mountains and they don't have any social skills. I mean, I wish my kids would back off on the socialness.
Well, here's the thing too, Brian, versus what? Drug addicts in the city? This is the other thing. I don't do drugs in my own personal life, not because of any teacher or anything I learned in school. I don't do drugs because of my family, my uncles, who pointed out what would happen if you did drugs, right? And I still read and still look at information. If I had the job, if I didn't, this is what I do. And the reason I do that is those are the people that surrounded me. It wasn't teachers that made me do that. In fact, it was teachers sometimes that would allow me to not do that. So I think kids should be educated by people that love them. Now, you could argue, Brian, that there was a time in American history where teachers were of good character and really wanted to do what the mission statement is. I don't think you can argue as a majority anymore, especially in public schools in the city. They don't care about the kids.
Party.
Yeah. Brian, the proof is in the pudding, right? The proof is in the pudding. When you're spending $38,000 a year for kids and you've got 40 schools where kids can't read, come on, man. You can't stop doing it. And what do you hear on the news? Give them more money. Any sixth grader homeschooled would say, well, that doesn't make sense. That's what we need to get back to.
I heard a guy say one time, let's not totally pat ourselves on the back. Any student would do better with one-on-one teaching, but the numbers are there. I've never met any family that homeschooled, because you're in it for the long term. I'm not just trying to get the kid to the next year. I'm in it for the long term.
And how many kids, especially in urban schools, are afraid to even ask a question that they don't understand because of the kids around them and the incompetent teacher in front of them? How many? And the answer, I think the answer right now is 82% in Chicago, because 82% of those kids sit there all day long. They go through 8th grade and they can't fricking read. That's a problem. Thank you, babe. 312-642-5600.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it. Literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Right, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, say and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
AM 560. The Answer.
Кабас колбасит соло, колбасер по пояс голый.
James in Schaumburg. I will not be sucked in by the Ukrainian lobbyist music, James. Don't even get sucked into it.
I'm trying not to. It's tempting. But anyway, I just cut tail end of this. It brings us full circle to people of goodwill are the problem. They always want to think and genuflect to authority, whether always the state or the education, thinking that public education is going to do it. The only way you're going to fix public education is to break up the unions because they're not aligned with education. That's not what they're for, any more than government is. Government is made of people, and they're flawed. They're all messed up, but people want to just they're doing the right thing. They want to do the right thing. No, they don't want to do the right thing. Like the SAVE Act. Oh my God! They don't want you to provide an ID. Remember when we had to have a vaccine? I go to the Civic Opera, right, for the Christmas thing that they had down there at the CFO. You had to give them a copy of your vaccination just for the performance. But yet they wanted to argue with you about an ID to vote. I just returned something at Home Depot. I didn't give them my driver's license to get the credit back on what I was returning. This is insanity.
I love what you said.
Will go along with it.
I love how you start. People of good character are the problem because they're too polite to speak up for themselves, and they assume other people have the best intentions. That is the exact right point, and it always is. Why doesn't anybody say anymore, my kid can't read, it's the teacher's fault? Do you know that's how I grew up? First thing a parent would say, what do you mean my kid can't read? What the hell have you been doing all day? To the teacher, not the kid. That's their fracking job.
It is their job, but it's not their job because it's not aligned anymore. It's not what the union wants. It's, as you're fond of saying, it's a business plan.
That's exactly
It's not
right.
an education system. It's a business plan.
Why would they succeed if failure gives them a raise? Why would they succeed if failure gives them a raise? James, you made my night. Thanks, kid. Oh, I didn't mean to hang up on you, but we got a little bit of time. Tom, you got a little bit of time, then Charlie Kirk.
Real quick, Shaun, dittos.
Thank you, Ben.
Blame has to be laid at the parents' feet. When you and I are about the same age. When we were kids, we didn't want teachers calling our parents because our parents would have sided with the teachers. That doesn't exist anymore. I believe we're giving too much blame to the teachers and not enough blame to the parents.
Well, I think it's a character hoisted by their own petard, but I don't like teachers that side with, or parents that side with teachers. Never side with the teacher. Always side with your kid. Teacher doesn't have your kid's best interest in mind. But we do. Now, remember, we win in the end. We're going to go out with our friend Charlie Kirk, and then, as always, the anthem. Go ahead, Squirrel.
We're under attack always. Don't feel sorry for me, though. In fact, we're under attack because I know we're doing something significant enough where Satan tries to attack us. Truly, it's a blessing. And also, it says in the scriptures in the book of James, one of my favorite verses, I think it's James 1:5, pray for wisdom and he'll give it to you generously. It also says in James 1 that blessed are you that are persecuted in my name. Jesus said the exact same thing in the book of Matthew and the book of Mark, that if you are not being persecuted right now, my challenge to you is step up your game. Step up, because this is the time that we as Christians, if you are not right over the bullseye, maybe you're a little bit of distance from there.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes
RedState.com captures the pulse of grassroots conservatism. Red State staff of contributors are on top of breaking news with stories and analysis that challenge the established agenda. RedState.com educates, motivates, and activates passionate conservatives across America, arming them with the facts that put them ahead of the political curve. No wonder RedState.com is a must-read for elected officials and for citizens who want to make their vote count. RedState.com is the place where influence meets action. Log on to RedState.com today.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago immune support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral.